everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name's Rachel and this is Stitched Up. So welcome everybody, welcome to the channel if you've not joined me before. If you're new here, I'm really glad you're here, and to all my old subscribers, thank you for coming back for more. So today is probably the long-awaited December makes vlog, and I haven't done a makes vlog for ages, and I will tell you the reason why. I am making lots and lots, as you know, as I always do, but the mistake I always make is that I don't film my makes when I've done them. I don't film the twirls, I don't film the nice modelly shots, etc. And then when it comes to the beginning of the next month or the end of the month and I think I need to get all my makes, you know, all the twirls and everything done, I'll be honest with you, I really can't be bothered. Because I think because it's winter as well, the weather outside is so cold. I mean, it's a beautiful morning this morning, but it is really cold. And I just end up where I think I can't be doing with getting changed in and out of all these clothes to show you. And that's really lazy, I know, but it's the truth. So what I've decided as one of my resolutions going forward as we lurch into 2022 is that actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the gorgeous photos of myself modelling my new makes each time I do one, so that come the end of the month I will have them all stored, and yeah, I won't be put off wanting to film the makes vlog, because they always are quite arduous, I will admit, if you don't know and you don't vlog. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. So I've got my little notebook here because I did make a list of what I did make in December. So December was quite busy, obviously. Hang on 2 secs, battery's running out. Yeah, so December was obviously really busy, as it is for all of us as we're leading up to the holiday season, and I was doing Vlogmas as well, and I did manage to do a daily vlog every day in December, apart from after Christmas. I think I just got one in, which was quite a task considering I was ill for all of the Christmas period, but despite that I still managed to get quite a number of things sewn up, and I made 12 things in December, which was great. There was a couple of things that I'd planned that I didn't get made, but that's always the case, isn't it? And yeah, I'll start with what I'm wearing. So today I have on one of two sew over it cowl neck tops. I'll put a picture of the pattern here. This is actually a dress pattern, but obviously, you know, as with a lot of dress patterns, especially if they're jersey, you can cut them off at the waist or high hip, for instance, and make it into a top, and that's exactly what I did with this. So this is the second one that I made, and I made this during Vlogmas, and it's essentially a long sleeved top, very plain, with just a cowl neck. Now I did alter the pattern because Lisa Comfort would have you there's sort of no deep facing on this cowl neck on the pattern, so it's very easy for it to flip out. So I did alter the pattern by extending up the front bodice piece and creating a facing which is stitched into the shoulder seams, and that's worked really, really well. So I made the size 12 because I put on, I don't want to get talking about weight again, but I did put on, as some of you might know, I did gain a lot of weight over the year last year, and I'm losing it again now. And since I've made this, it's actually getting very, very big on me. Now, I do think sew over it patterns tend to be very generous sizing anyway. They do tend to fit me quite well, but I always need to go down a size lower than what I would generally with other patterns. This is a size 12, but as you can see, if I just pull this back a little bit, it is incredibly loose on me, and the shoulder seams actually come right down here, whereas my shoulder point is up here. So there's probably a good inch difference there. I'm also wearing it with my Nina Lee Camden skirt. Now I made this leading up to Christmas as well, so it hits me just above the knee. I put the pockets in the front. I lined it with just some sort of burgundy satin lining that I had in my stash, and this is quite big on me now actually compared to what it was when I made it. There's quite a lot of room in the waist, as you can see. I think I made a 14 in this, and I don't know, this hasn't been washed since I wore it over Christmas, and so this, you know, the whisker lines that you get here when it's pulling at the hip, they're still apparent in this skirt, but as you can see now, there is absolutely, you know, I can pull this into my hips quite a lot here, probably by a good inch on each side. So it you know, on the hip now, it totally skims me, and yeah, I'm really liking it. This is in a red cord that I think I got from eBay, and I do really like it. And yeah, I'm just wearing it with some burgundy tights today. So I'll grab the other cowl neck top that I made and show you that one. Right, so this is the other cowl neck top that I made, and I made this one first. And if I show you, basically what she has you do is just fold over the back neckline and stitch it down, which I did with my cover stitch, and then exactly the same with the front. And it just means that it has a tendency when it's worn to not completely conceal that seam, because it really needs a facing, to be honest. So that is one thing I would say about that pattern that isn't great. So when I came to make this, I made a facing for it basically, and it's a lot better. So if you want me to do a quick little how-to video on how to do that with this pattern, if you're interested, just let me know down below. I'm planning to do a few of those this year actually, of sort of very quick 5-minute vlogs on how to do specific sewing techniques, or how to, you know, make sort of simple alterations to patterns like this that just make it work a little bit better. So if you're interested in that, let me know down below. Right, so that's the first 3 things. And I mean, as I say, I do love this top. It's great as a, you know, as a winter top. I wear it for work, but it is rather big, and I think that I am just going to have to go down to the size 10, which, believe me, I'm not a size 10 at the minute at all. I mean, this I can alter. It's just black jersey that I had in my stash. I've got tons of this stuff. Viscose jersey. I tend to like to use the sort of Modals viscose jerseys for this type of top, because you need the drape for the cowl. I wouldn't use something like a cotton jersey. I think that would just be, I mean, it'd probably be okay, but dependent on how thick your cotton jersey is, the cowl might sort of be a bit poofy, if that makes sense. So just need a quick slurp of coffee. So that's the first 3 things. The next thing I made is a pattern that I've been wanting to try for quite a while, ever since Sian made hers, and that is the McCall's 7537. So I actually have some Atelier Jupe fabric that I want to make this pattern out of, but Atelier Jupe is quite expensive. So I had this fabric in my stash, which is viscose, which I thought I'd twirl the pattern in first, and I ended up fully lining the bodice. Here it is here, and I had a few issues with this pattern, I will say. That the instructions were absolutely fine, it all came together really well. I made a rouleau loop because I didn't have enough fabric left to make a rouleau loop out of the self fabric, so I just used some plain viscose. But I think I mentioned this in the Vlogmas vlog, whenever I showed this, when I made it in December, that I just think these rouleau loops are too wide. I need to take these off and redo them at some point. But the main issue I had was that it didn't fit, and I was really annoyed, because what I'd done is I actually had overlapped the front bodice pieces, which meant that it took off quite a lot of the width around the bodice. So even though I made the straight size 14 in this, I could not zip it up because it has a side zip. And so at the time, you know, I was really disappointed, and because I just think it's a beautiful dress. I love how it looks, but I couldn't zip it up. So anyway, I altered that. I put the grommets in the front with the tie, and then I could get the zip up. But then when I fully made the zip invisible, again, I couldn't get it up. But I have since tried this on. I can now fasten it, which is fantastic. Since I've been losing weight, it fits now, and it fits comfortably. The only issue is I can't show you because the zip has broken. So it's a cheap zip that I used in this, to be honest, and I need to take it out and re-put a new zip in. But so I'm really sorry that I can't show you pictures of me wearing this. But essentially you have a bodice with grommets in the front. It's quite a low v-neck, but obviously you can use the tie. There's various options with this pattern, as you'll see from the pattern picture that I'll put in, but it has like a neckband all the way around the front with a facing inside. But as I say, I did fully line this, and then it has these lovely bishop sleeves with elastic in the wrist, and it's a lovely sleeve. I did add an inch length to these sleeves, but they're not quite long enough. I probably will need to just add a little bit more. And then it's got a midriff panel at the front and the back, some little pleats just in the back bodice there, and a gathered skirt on it. And this hits me just below the knee. I hemmed it just with some red bias binding, and I do really like it. It's really pretty, but as I say, I'm really excited to start wearing this now because I can actually get it on and fastened. But as I say, I just need to change the zip, which is really annoying. So I'm really sorry that I can't show you pictures of me wearing this, but now I know that this fits me, I'm really excited to be tackling it again out of the Atelier Jupe fabric. So yeah, it's a really lovely dress. The next thing I made is the Vogue V8685, and this is a pattern that I've had in my stash for a few years, and I've made it once before, but I've made the straight version, and it's designed for knit fabrics. The pattern does tell you to put a zip in the back, but to be honest, dependent on the choice of fabric, you don't really need it. So I decided I was going to make the full skirted version of this and use up some of the scubas in my stash, of which I have many. And this was the first one that I made, and the only one that I made in December, and it is in this really lovely tropical print scuba. So it's a really easy, straightforward pattern to make, but it does have a lot of pattern pieces because the sleeves have a front and back pattern piece. There is a seam on the shoulder. It's a raglan top, so you've got front bodice with bust pleats just at the under the bust, and then the back is obviously that it's got a centre back seam because that's where you're supposed to put the zip, which I didn't do. It's got 2 darts at the back bodice. It's got a midriff section front and back, and then it's also got a curved yoke at the front and back as well, and then goes into this sort of full skirt. It's a really pretty dress. I really like it, and I wore this to go to Castle Howard with Judy just before Christmas, and I loved it so much that I just dragged out a load more scubas from my stash and made 5 of them up in one day. And there is a vlog talking about that process if you want to go and check that out on my channel. But the majority of this was sewn up on my overlocker. It's super quick. I did the short sleeved version mainly because I thought that I would then be able to wear this in summer. I know scuba's quite a hot fabric. It's, it's polyester, it's thick, it's very warm to wear, but I thought, at least in winter I can wear it with a little cardigan or a jumper, but in summer I can wear it with, sleeveless like this and still get wear out of it all year round. So really happy with that one. I will insert some pictures of me wearing it so you can at least see what that one looks like on me. So next up, I made the Liberty Thea blouse, which I will put a picture of here, and I made it out of this beautiful art gallery rayon fabric that I got from Minerva, and this is the blouse here. Now I'm really sorry that this is really creased because it's actually on my UFO pile, because although it is finished, I do need to make a few changes to this pattern. So I had a few grumbles with the actual pattern, not in putting it together because the instructions are absolutely fine, but when I took all the pattern instructions and pieces out of the envelope, it very quickly occurred to me that actually this was a McCall's pattern in a Liberty envelope, and because there was no transparency with that, I was actually quite aggrieved at that, because I'd paid a lot of money for this pattern thinking I was getting a Liberty pattern, when in fact it was a Liberty branded pattern only, but actually the pattern was a Vogue pattern, and I think it's the Vogue 9330 or something. I will put a picture of it here, but basically that pattern has just been stuffed in a Liberty branded envelope and it's exactly the same pattern. So I'm really quite cross at that, because I just think that there should be some honesty and openness so that you know exactly what you're buying. And I don't understand, forgive me if you disagree, that's absolutely fine, it's just my personal opinion, but I do not understand why, when there is already a pattern out there that is exactly the same, that exact pattern has been put in a Liberty branded envelope, so you think you're buying something else. And I just think that's quite deceitful, if I'm honest. However, I didn't know this when I bought the Liberty pattern, but I know it now, and aside from that, I still love this blouse. It's gorgeous. This fabric, as I say, it's an art gallery rayon, and it's a beautiful fabric. I absolutely love the print. It was an absolute nightmare to work with. It is so lightweight, it is so shifty, and making a pattern like this was actually quite fiddly in places. So yeah, it is on my to finish, well, to alter pile, because the sleeves are not long enough for me, and I will put it on and show you. But essentially it's a, you know, it's a lovely collared blouse with some pleats in the yoke at the neckline. It's got obviously a front and back yoke. Sorry, no, it's got a back yoke, and which comes over to the front of the blouse, and then the front bodice has little pleats which are attached into the yoke at the shoulders. It has a concealed button placket on the front, which I've completely done wrong because I have just put the buttons on the wrong side. Yeah, don't even go there. I don't know what I was thinking, but when I did this, and then I put it up on the vlog, and I was like, what is going on with this? And a few of you pointed out that I'd put them on the wrong side. So thank you so much for telling me that, because yeah, that was one area where I had a complete you know, brain fog and didn't know what I was doing. So anyway, so the button placket needs taking off to redo, but it's got collar and collar stand, which I really like the collar. It's like a curved collar. I don't know if you can see that there. Really pretty. And it has the sleeves sort of drop down into a normal sleeve here, and then you've got a gathered billowy sleeve that attaches into that, down into a little cuff with a couple of buttons on, and these were just buttons from my stash. So at the back you have your yoke with the back bodice with some pleated detail into the back yoke, and it's beautiful. It's really pretty. As I say, the changes I need to make to it is I need to take this button placket off and redo it because it's not right, but the main changes I need to make is the sleeves because they're not long enough, which you will probably see when I try this on for you. It's quite a time consuming make because you've got lots of gathering, particularly with the sleeves, because you're gathering at the hem and where it meets into the sleeve further up near the shoulder. You've got obviously a concealed button placket and, you know, all the collar and everything. So there's quite a lot of steps to it, but it's worth it, definitely. It's a really, really lovely pattern. It also has a continuous lap on the cuff as well, which on this fabric was quite awkward, I will say. The shirt itself is fully French seamed, which I tend to do with all these kinds of fabrics because it just gives you a better finish and a stronger finish on the inside, as you can see. So, and I burritoed the yoke as well. The instructions don't tell you to do that, which annoys me with the big four patterns. I think that tends to be an indie thing that we do, but it just gives you a much neater finish, doesn't it? So it's beautiful, but it's currently sat in my mending pile because, as I say, I've got a lot of work to do taking out the sleeves because I need to unpick all the French seam and remove those and then recut the sleeves. I did manage to get another metre of this fabric from Minerva. They still had some in stock, which was really good. Otherwise I would just sort of put up with it as it is. But you know, I dived straight in with a expensive fabric. I think this fabric's £20 a metre, and I really should have twirled it first, shouldn't I? But hey, live dangerously. Okay, so that is the Liberty Vogue blouse, as I'm now going to call it. Moving on, I wanted to make Piper, my Weimaraner, a hoodie because the weather was turning and it was getting cold, and I've just wanted to, since he's sort of more or less fully grown now, even though he's only 13 months old, I wanted to make him a gorgeous red hoodie because obviously he's grey, he's a Weimaraner, and I just think the red and grey together look quite striking. So I was looking around just for a free hoodie pattern, a free dog sweater pattern, and I found the Ellie & Mac dog hoodie, which was only $1, which is about 80p, something like that. So I'd got this red fleece and some gorgeous spun poly in my stash that I got from Knighton Fabrics and decided to have a go at it. And I measured him and I chose the measurements correctly using the Ellie & Mac pattern. but it just didn't fit properly at all. I think I had to mess about with this pattern about 4 times before I actually got it to fit him. So I don't know whether it's just that Ellie and Mac assume that when your dog is big, they're big all over, and Weimaranas aren't. Although they're a large dog, they have quite a slim chest and underbelly. So the first one that I made to fit his girth was actually far too small, didn't cover the length of him. And then the second one I made that did fit his girth, it just hung too low around his belly and his shoulder. So I ended up where I recut this about 4 times and I ran out of fleece. So this is my final iteration of this pattern. I will put some pictures of it in here. So this is his little dog hoodie, which is rather cute, and it fits in really well now. The instructions, I would say, are, you know, they're straightforward. I think the only frustrating thing I have about Ellie and Mac is, I'll be honest, I like to print my pattern instructions out. I generally don't like to follow them on screen, and I know that's wasteful with paper, but the problem with Ellie and Mac is that they have so much information in their patterns that the instructions are not separate to the pattern, so it's all in one sort of PDF. And they have a glossary, they've got printing instructions, they've got terminology, they've got choosing fabric, they've got all sorts, and then every single step is fully illustrated, page by page. So there are just pages and pages and pages of instructions. And whilst that's great if you're a beginner, if you're more experienced, it's really quite annoying to have to just go through all this stuff to get to the actual bits that you need. So I do wish some of these pattern companies that cater for the beginner end of the market, which is very necessary, I do wish they would also just give a shortened version for some of us that don't need to wade through all that to get to the bits, the sewing bits that we really need. I think that would, you know, that would cater for us all, wouldn't it? Which would be a bit more inclusive. So anyway, getting back to the hoodie, when I eventually got this pattern to fit him and altered the pattern pieces that I traced off, then you know, it's absolutely fine now. So this is the gorgeous little spun poly lining for the hood that I used, and the hood itself I don't think is lined, but I decided to line it because I just thought that was really cute peeping out. It's got a hole in the back there because obviously this fits him like that, where you can put your lead through onto a collar, but I use a harness with Piper anyway rather than a neck collar, and so I tend to put that on over the top of this. And then yeah, it's got the little front holes for his little front legs, bless him, and yeah, it's really snuggly. He looks great in it. I will put a picture of him here. He looks really sort of not impressed, I'll be honest, but trust me, he does really like it. So this is great, and I'm probably going to put this on him today after I finish filming this and take him for a walk, because it's quite cold and frosty out there and I think he's going to need it. So yeah, really happy about making that for him, and it was a really nice thing to make, something a bit different from dressmaking. So yeah, so that was my next make. And then moving on, I was going out for a meal before Christmas. It was my only social event throughout the Christmas season, to be honest, and I was meeting up with a couple of colleagues from work, and I wanted to make just a little black jacket to wear, basically, that's sort of smart casual, that I can wear for, you know, an evening out or whatever. And I currently, well, up to making this, I didn't have one in my wardrobe, so it was something that was definitely missing. And I decided to revisit the Victoria Blazer by Hand Patterns, which I will, sorry, by Hand London, which I will put here. And I've made this jacket once before, and that was in black actually, and it was quite early on in the beginning of my sewing career, and it didn't fit quite right. One of the issues was there were some drafting issues with that pattern, in the fact that where the front bodice meets the back pattern piece is quite far back, and it had inseam pockets, which meant that actually they were unusable because you had to sort of bend your arms too far back to get your hands in the pockets. So that was a bit of an error with the drafting of it. So I've still got that original pattern. I don't know if they've upgraded it since, to be honest. It is still available to buy, but I decided that I was just going to leave pockets off this altogether because this was something I needed to make up in an afternoon. Yes, I made this lined jacket in an afternoon. I think it took me about 4 or 5 hours altogether to wear on my meal out in the evening. So I'm trying to think where I got this outer fabric from. I think it was a Lady McElroy fabric. And I wanted to use a really cool lining. So the sleeves are not lined in this jacket. It literally is just the main jacket which is lined, and then around the armholes it's supposed to just be overlocked together, but I wanted a better finish on mine. So here's my jacket. So it has this really lovely notched collar. Now I know when I made this, and this was one of the issues I had with this jacket last time, it's really not clear on the pattern instructions whether you're supposed to turn this collar out or not. And one of the things I was trying to do was to have it back like a lapel, and I have been reliably informed that actually it's not supposed to be like that. This is more like a Nehru collar, which is supposed to sit up, and that's why it's finished as it is. But this fabric I got from Lady McElroy. It's just a Lady McElroy cotton twill, I think, and I lined it with this Ruby Star Society cotton, which is just stunning. I just thought that was a really, really good lining. It has these lovely French cuffs which make it 3/4 length sleeve. I really like these cuffs. I think it's lovely. As I say, the sleeves themselves are not lined, so what I did inside was I just bias bound the lining to the armholes so that it gives that neat finish on the inside. Now, the only thing I don't like about this is when you flip the cuffs back, I don't know if you can see it, the instructions tell you to top stitch it down, and I don't actually like that because I think it gives you not a very nice neat finish on the outside. I didn't have the time when I made this because I was wearing it that evening to unpick all this and change it, but I am going to go back and do that, and I'm just going to hand stitch it inside so that you don't have that line of stitching on the outer cuff, because I just think it just looks a bit homemade rather than handmade, if that makes sense. So apart from that, it's a fabulous jacket. I really like it. I lengthened this a little bit, not too much because I didn't have enough fabric, but I wished that I had got more because it's not quite as long as what I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be sort of just below low hip, and it actually hits me right on my widest part, which is not the most flattering part you want to emphasize, is it? So I'm a bit annoyed about that. This is a Lady McElroy wool fabric, wool suiting fabric that I bought because I wanted it to be quite luxurious. So yeah, it's lovely. It's really nice fabric, and I'm really happy that I've got this because it's something that I can wear winter and summer, and I'm sure I'll get loads of wear out of it in 2022. So next up, my daughter was home the week before Christmas and she was desperate for me to make her a dress for New Year's Eve. So we went through my pattern and fabric stash and she pulled out some plain blue scuba, which was like a royal blue that I originally got from Colville Fabrics, and also the New Look 6000 pattern, which I will put here. Now, I made this up in 2 or 3 hours for her, and she looked amazing in it, absolutely stunning. So I'll put a picture of her here, and I'm going to insert some footage now of me talking a little bit about this pattern and what the changes that we made, etc. Because I filmed it when she was here in preparation for this vlog. So it might be a little bit disjointed, but I'm going to insert that here now so you can hear all about that pattern. So next up in December, my daughter came home just after Christmas because unfortunately she was working over the actual Christmas days. And before she went back, she decided to ask me if I would make her a dress for New Year's Eve because she's going to be going out with her friends. And we decided on New Look 6000, and she decided to go for view, I think it was view A, I think, but it was the sleeveless version, and she wanted me to lower the neckline. So with a little bit of fandangling and a little bit of pattern tweaking, I managed to create the dress for her. So here she comes. She's wearing it now, and I'll show you. So what we did, just move your hair back, love, so we can see. So what we did was we lowered the neckline, and it was really simple to do with just pin fitting the actual pattern piece once I'd traced it off on Bronte, and then we just decided where we wanted the neckline to finish at the front, add on the seam allowance, and then I just used my pattern curve to curve it down, and it's worked really well, hasn't it? And then it's got these lovely little pleats at the side here, which is one of the really lovely features of the New Look 6000. And if you just turn around, it's got gorgeous fisheye darts in the back, which just gives that really lovely shaping. And she wanted it mini length because, you know, she's only 22. You can turn around again now, love. She's only 22, and obviously, you know, she's a young, lovely girl who wants to go out and have fun on New Year's Eve.
Who's very bloated at the minute after all that cheesecake.
So what do you think to it? Do you like it?
It's really comfortable.
Yeah. So I used just a plain blue scuba that was in my stash when we were sorting out my sewing room. She chose this scuba.
I like blue.
Yeah, she really likes it, don't you?
Thank you.
Yeah. So I think you'll agree she looks absolutely amazing, and yeah, I think she looks great in that dress. It really, really suits her, and she had a fabulous time at New Year's Eve wearing it, so yeah, that's great. So moving forward, I went to Walton's, which is my favourite fabric shop, which is about 3/4 of an hour away from where I live, back in November with Judy, and they had some fabulous lycras in stock, and I get a lot of my lycras from there so that I can make my running wear with them. And they had some Christmas tree lycra, yes, I know, and the plan was that we were going to do park run on Christmas Day, and we were going to wear Christmas tree leggings because that's what you do, isn't it? But unfortunately we didn't end up doing park run because I was poorly, but I still made the Christmas tree leggings. So these are the leggings that I made. These are the Green Style Creations Tempo Tights. They are my favourite running leggings. I absolutely love them. And both of these lycras I got from Walton's. So the navy blue that you can see, and then the Christmas tree lycra. How awesome is that? And they have pockets in the side, which is great because I run with Piper mostly now, and I can put doggy bags and treats in my side pockets. I can put my key in there as well, and it just means that, you know, I can easily get to them when I need them. But on top of that, I can stick my hands in as well, so if I forget to take my gloves and I have to stop and I'm a bit cold, I can just put my hands in them, which end up on the top of my thighs, and it just keeps them warm. So it's an ingenious place to stick a pocket. So these are full length tights with these panels in, and that's what they're like at the back. They're awesome. I will not be putting a picture of me in these on here because you don't need to see me in lycra if you don't mind, but just rest assured that these are amazing. So the waistband has a length of clear elastic stitched into it in the seam line at the top, and that's the key to keeping leggings in place when you're exercising. So yeah, it makes all the difference. So I absolutely love them. I stitched these up on my overlocker mostly and just finished them off on my cover stitch machine, and I'm still wearing them now even though it's past Christmas. I don't care that they've got Christmas trees with fairy lights on them. I'm still wearing them because the fit is so good. They're so compressive that they hold everything in place when I'm running, and they don't move, so I absolutely love them. So yeah, that is my go-to running legging pattern. Okay, moving forward to Christmas, and I held my first live sew along. I think it was this, what date was it now? I want to say the 16th of December, but I can't actually remember, to be honest. I've slept a lot since then. But the plan was that we were going to make the Mayfair dress because I had this beautiful sequin jersey from Sherwood's, and I wanted to make a fabulous sequined Mayfair dress to wear Christmas Day. So we did that as the live sew along, and I got the majority of it sewn on the live sew along, and this is the resulting dress here. So it is super sparkly, very festive, very glamorous, and I did fully line the dress because this jersey, as much as it is super gorgeous, is a little bit scratchy on the inside, and I didn't particularly want, you know, you still got to think about comfort, haven't you, no matter how glam you look. So I lined it just with some red viscose jersey, and the skirt is lined as well. It's got these lovely sort of ties that are stitched onto the front of the bodice, and it has this gorgeous sort of draped neckline. It's really lovely, which is gathered in at the back. I couldn't, to be honest, totally figure out how to do it so that the lining covered the back neckline inside, to be honest, but it felt fine wearing it. I wore this all day on Christmas Day, and it is a full-on maxi gown, and I absolutely love it. It's beautiful. I'll put a picture of me here that my son took of me in front of one of our Christmas trees, and yeah, really loved it. It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. I did 3/4 length sleeves, and I can't say that I'm going to get a lot of wear out of this in 2022, but I'm sure it will make an appearance again next Christmas. So that was great to do as part of that sew along, and yeah, really love this dress. And then my final make of 2021 was in the days after Christmas. I think it might have even been Boxing Day when I started this, but no, it was after that. I bought myself a new sewing machine. I got myself a Benina 475QE, I think it is, and to sort of get used to using it and, you know, learning how it works, because it's very different to my faff, I decided that I was going to make Martin a shirt. Now, I usually make him a shirt every Christmas, and I didn't get a chance this year because I was ill for a lot of December and busy with work, etc., and it just didn't happen. I guess you could say it was a late Christmas present, but I'd had this Alexander Henry fabric in my stash for a while, and it was about time it was made up. It was always intended to be this pattern. So my go-to shirt for him is the McCall's M6044. I'll put a picture of that somewhere. And this is the resulting shirt here. Now, again, please excuse the fact that this is a little bit creased, but I've just been having to raid his drawers to find it, and it was folded up in a drawer, not hung in the wardrobe. It's men for you, isn't it? But anyway, this is the resulting shirt here. So this shirt has no yoke at the back. It is just a straight back, which is fine for a pattern like this because, you know, it's dragons. It's dragons, and, you know, it's quite a big print which needs pattern matching, let's say. So I needed 2.5 meters to make this shirt so that I had enough to be able to pattern match all the pieces, and I tried my best to do it across the front, but it wasn't quite successful. However, I have pattern matched the pockets. I don't know if you can see that one. There is a pocket there which is matched really well, and also another one this side is just, where is it? It's there, look. So I think I've done quite well with that. I stuck one of the little Kylie in the Machine labels in, which was from the Kylie in the Machine advent calendar, Love You to the Moon and Back. I don't normally get very soppy on this channel, but yeah, there you go. So, and these buttons were some buttons that were gifted to me by Rainbow Fabrics when I bought some fabrics from them a month or so ago. They sent me a great big pack of mixed buttons, and I found these in there and I thought they worked really well. So yeah, it's great. I've made this shirt about 4 or 5 times for him now, and I've got the fit right for him, and so it's fairly easy and straightforward to put together. So yeah, the only thing I've done wrong is that I interfaced both the button stand and the button band, and it's made it a little bit stiff, to be honest, because obviously this is a quilting weight cotton, and so that is a bit of a, you know, a bit of a mistake really. I should have probably just done the button band. Yeah, the button band, isn't it, with the, because it's just a little bit stiff. But apart from that, it's great, and it's a lovely shirt. I don't unfortunately have any pictures of him wearing it at the minute. He's at work as well, and he's going to be at work all day, so, and I want to get this edited, so I don't think that's going to be in there, but at some point I'm sure you'll see him in it. So that was my complete makes for December, and yeah, I'm really pleased with the majority of things that I got made. Everything, I would say, generally was successful. There's a couple of things that just need a few tweaks, but we get that, don't we? That's the beauty of sewing and how we learn. So I think my favourite out of all of them is probably the Mayfair dress, because that was the sort of showstopper. But I think what I'm most excited about now is the 7537 dress with the broken zip, that I can get that replaced and I can now start wearing it because it fits me, which is awesome. So I hope you've enjoyed having a look at what I made in December, and please leave me a comments down below. What's your favourite? And yeah, I'd be really interested to hear. So I will leave you for now and I'll be back with you really soon. Take care. Bye.